Hi, my name is Jennifer Howard, and today I'm going to be redoing a video that I did probably about 6 months ago on Enneagram 6 with 5 versus 6 with 7, okay? Before we get started, I wanted to share something with you guys that I just thought you would find it funny because I found it funny. Those of you that follow my videos know that I identify as a 6 on the Enneagram, so this is why this is going to be funny. So I went to a bookstore last night because I've finally decided I wasn't going to do it for a long time because I was resisting the urge. It was just too cliche for someone who's a 6 on the Enneagram, but I gave in last night and I went to the bookstore and I bought the first book in what will probably become an embarrassingly large collection of survival manuals. So I have my complete survival manual, National Geographic, no less. Look at this. So that's how you know that you can trust it. Like, that's how you know that this was, you know what I mean? Like, it's reputable. I mean, you don't want to just buy a survival manual from somebody you don't know, because what if they were stupid and they died? Do you know what I mean? Well, I guess they didn't die because they wrote a book, but I don't know. Anyways, I realized it when I was standing in the checkout line last night with this book in my hand. I was like, I was just kind of like asking myself, like, really? And then I'm like, yeah, really, because you never know when you're going to need this. Like, what if I'm ever in a situation and I need to know these things and everyone else doesn't know it, and then they all have to rely on me to save them? Like, what if that happens? You know what I mean? But then I'm like, really? It's like 2016 and you live in Dallas, Texas, for Christ's sakes. Like, really? Come on. So, they also had what was called the Urban and Suburban Survival Manual, and it included things like what to do if there's an earthquake within a city limit, and how to survive, being held up at gunpoint, and, what to do if someone's breaking into your home and you're there, and blah, 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 blah. Anyways, so, I don't know, I think I'm going to have to go back and get that book too, because that's probably more relevant to the area that I live in. Although, you can't go wrong with this. I've already even made a tab. So, yeah. I just feel like I need to have it. I'm completely aware that I'm indulging my personality at this point, but I think I'm past the point of caring. I don't know, I was making fun of myself last night when I was standing in the checkout because it dawned on me just that my little 6 self was just running rampant in this bookstore. Anyways, haha, you can make fun of the 6 for buying the survival manual. Anyways, alright, 6 with 5 versus 6 with 7. We're going to redo this video. So, alright, one of the key differences, and I want to be really careful about how I describe this because it is a very slight difference. It takes a lot of observation to catch this, is in how the 6 chooses to express themselves. When I say express themselves, I mean their opinions, perspectives, their emotions, how they're feeling, the expression of themselves, okay? Especially in situations where what they think may be different from what everyone else thinks, and what they feel may not be what is considered socially appropriate to the situation. The first thing that you need to know is that 6s already have a really big fear about expressing themselves. If I did a video a while back on how to tell if I'm Enneagram type 1 or Enneagram type 6, and I talked about this a little in that video. I would strongly suggest that you go back and watch that if that's something that you want to do. And one of the examples that I used in that video for me in my life is I really like super tacky little holiday themed earrings, okay? I have some for almost every holiday. I'm wearing my little jack-o'-lanterns right now, and they have bells. That's awesome. Yes, it is. So, but I was talking about how I work in a like a Christian-based company, and like Halloween is really, really frowned on there because it's, it's like the devil's holiday, and if you celebrate Halloween, you're worshiping the devil or whatever else kind of an idea that Christian people tend to think. And I was telling you guys in that video about how for me, these earrings then are a form of my self-expression. I like these things. I think they are freaking adorable. But I have a fear of wearing them to work because I don't want people to shame me for worshiping the devil or whatever they think that it means when I wear these earrings. And most unfortunately, I have met Christian people that are of that opinion. Not necessarily that I work with, but I've met them. And because I've met them and because I've had those experiences, my fear is that the people that I work with are also going to think this way. Because I'm a 6, it's more of a security fear than an appropriateness fear. I really don't care. I really do not care if it's appropriate or inappropriate for me to wear these earrings to work. I don't care. I'm just being honest. What I do care about is if somebody who has authority over me is angry that I'm wearing them and decides to punish me for wearing them. Punishment could be, hey, take those off. Don't wear them again. Punishment could be, go home for the rest of the day. Punishment could be, we're going to write you up for this. Punishment could be, you're fired. And because I'm a 6, I go to this worst case scenario thinking. So I imagine myself walking into work wearing these earrings, and my supervisor sees them and gets terribly angry and fires me on the spot, and now I have no idea how I'm going to get money to feed my family, and blah blah blah, the whole myriad of things that come when you lose a job. That's what's in my head every time I go to put these earrings on, and I know I'm going to go to work. So I don't put them on when I go to work because I can't reconcile or do anything with that idea that's in my head. It's just this idea that's just floating there, hovering on top of me. What if this happens? Okay? So I'm telling you all of this because I want you to understand that self-expression for a 6 is already a massive area of struggle. Massive, okay? We want so bad to just be who God created us to be and to just let loose whatever is inside of us. But there is such a tremendous fear of bad things being done to us because of that. People trying to harm us because they can't accept who we are or, what we like. You know what I mean? And so there's a fear of being on the radar, of being harmed, of losing something, of having something taken from me. It's an emotional fear, but it's a practical fear as well. So that's important because when you're 6 and you have a 5 wing, your tendency will be to lean more towards the the withholding side of that. In other words, this is a part of me that I really want to express, but I'm really scared to express it. So I'm just going to kind of sit on it for a little while, think about it, and observe my environment, figure out what's acceptable here, what's not acceptable here, what are they likely to do, what are they not likely to do, what are the schematic of rules and dogma here, and that kind of a thing. And I'll feel it out for a little while, and then I'll see if I want to speak what's on my mind. But they tend to be very quiet, they tend to keep those things to themselves, and they tend to be very contemplative about their self-expression before they self-express. And I would say a 6 with a 5 wing, if they're ever questioning it, they're probably more likely to just not express it. A 6 with a 7 wing, their tendency would probably be, I'll put it to you this way, if anyone's going to throw caution to the wind and if any 6 would throw caution to the wind and just dive into it, you know what, this is me, I'm just going to be me, and we're just going to have to see what happens, it would probably be more of a 6 with a 7 wing. Now, I also want to say that doesn't mean that it's going to happen right away. I have a 7-wing. It's a pretty flamboyant 7-wing. In fact, I am pretty sure that when I went shopping, my 7-wing is what picked these earrings out. Like, I'm pretty sure that was the 7-wing. You know, my little 6-side buys survival manuals. My 7-wing buys 99-cent, you know, tacky Halloween Jingle Bell earrings at Walmart. But I don't immediately launch into that kind of face your fear, counterphobic form of self-expression. Usually for me, I have a 7-wing, and what will happen is I'll go for a little while, and I'm kind of holding myself back, and you know, I just want to be myself. I want to do what I want to do. I want my personality to have space here in this area, wherever that area is. And so I get to this point where I just decide I'm going to throw caution to the wind. I just want to be happy. I just want to have fun. I want to live my life. And so I'm just going to do whatever it is that I want to do, damned be the consequences. And then I just do it. It's almost like, you know, when you get angry, you hear people talking about they've gone into a blind rage. For me, this is like that, but it's not rage. It's kind of like just this blind adventure type of a thing. I just let loose, and I have fun, and I just let it all out, and I get really loud and not obnoxious, but I'm really playful. I really am. I'm a kind of a, I don't know if outgoing is the right word. Maybe it is. I wouldn't call myself extroverted. I'm definitely really introverted, but I'm very personable, and I'm really funny, and I love to make fun of everything. Everything. In fact, the more inappropriate that a joke is, the more I really want to tell it. Again, that's a 7-wing thing, because that's kind of drawing on the 7's need for attention and the use of shock value to get attention. Just kind of makes them feel good when they can do that. I admit I have some of that in me as well. It's very rebellious is what it is, but I'm just giving the example and being very honest while I'm doing it. So for me, what that looks like is I am holding on to all of that self-expression, and then it finally comes out, and I just have a couple of hours or an event or a day or whatever happens where I just go and I'm like, you know, I'm done. I've been safe this long here. You know, I'm going to go ahead and just try it. And I put on my little tacky 99-cent Halloween Jingle Bell earrings, and I go to work and I tell the jokes I want to tell, and I don't worry about, you know, what I say or what opinions I express or anything like that. And people laugh with me and we have fun, and it's just fun. There's just no concerns for anything until I get in my car. And then I'm in the car and I'm on my way home, and I'm like, oh God, like dread comes over me. Like, what did I just do? Oh my goodness. And then I replay the conversations in my head. This is what I said. Oh, I'm sure that they took it this way. Oh my gosh, this is terrible. Like, what if they took it this way? What if this person tells this person that wasn't here and they found out I said that? They're not going to like that. And then they're going to tell somebody else. Like, what if they think like I worship the devil now because I wear Halloween earrings? I'm smiling because all of this is stupid. It's stupid. You get how stupid it is for me to get hung up on this, right? It's stupid. But nonetheless, I get hung up on it. This is just an example. Anyways, that's an example because I'm a 6 with a 7-wing, and that's how it expresses itself in me. 7 is kind of this place where I go when it's like I just can't take it anymore. I've been wrestling with this should I or shouldn't I with my self-expression, and you know, my 7-wing, I know I talked to you guys about my theory about the wings, is that we use them to help kind of aid in day-to-day stresses. And so for me, I take on this 7-wing, and it's very counterphobic. It's throw caution to the wind. Let's just have fun. Let's just forget about it. Let's just enjoy life. Forget the stupid rules. Just be yourself and have fun. Be happy. You only get to live once. That's what I want to do. Okay? I don't want to worry about stupid stuff like this. I don't want to have to worry about what people think about me and what they're going to do to me if they don't like me. Okay, so that's kind of how my 7-wing feeds into that. I get aggressive in the sense that I stake my claim, wherever it is that I'm at for me and who I am and my personality, and I just don't care if you like me being there or not. When you're a 5, I think that the tendency, or at least it has been with the 6s that I know who have a 5 wing, and I've known many, they get to that point where they're frustrated and they're like, I'm kind of, I'm done with this back and forth business with should I or shouldn't I say this? Should I or shouldn't I wear this? Should I or shouldn't I tell someone this is how I'm feeling? And I think that when you have a 5 wing, the tendency as a 6 is just to say, let's just not. Let's just not. Let me detach from this. I'm going to pull it inside. I'm going to separate it. I'm going to kind of take any personalization away from it. And I'm going to turn it into this idea. So I can think about it and I can contemplate it, but it doesn't really bother me anymore because it's just like this idea that I'm no longer associating with myself. And in doing that, I think that what 6s with a 5 wing are doing is they're just helping to alleviate that anxiousness to express. Because if you don't see it as something that's a part of you anymore, then why do you care if you express it? It's a very internalized mechanism, and it's something that I think happens underneath the surface. I'm not even sure if they know they're doing it. But these are just my observations, so I'm just sharing my opinions of what I see and my own personal experiences, okay? That's one way that I think that we can tell a difference, but again, it's a very nuanced way, and it takes a lot of observation to kind of get a feel for what's going on there, okay? I'm using my notes, so I'm reading to see where I want to go next. A 6 with a 5 wing, I would also say, tends to be more entertained and engaged in an intellectual, cognitive, cerebral realm or way. A 6 with a 5 wing could stay home and read whatever books they want all day, work on their computer, play games on the computer all day, maybe go out and garden all day, I don't know, whatever, name it. They're okay with things that are more, I don't want to say mundane, maybe routine is a better way to say it, maybe routine is better. And they can get satisfied with that, okay? That kind of that can hold their interest and kind of feed that need to be intellectually stimulated, which 6s have. I think I mentioned that before as well. A 6 with a 7 wing, and again, I'm speaking from personal experience, it isn't that we aren't intellectually stimulated that way, but I have like this need for variety, and this is a weird thing. I'm really happy with routine. I really like it because it's safe. That's a 6 thing. All 6s have that, I think, but if you're a 6 and you have a 5 wing, I think you live your life in that. And that's how you live your life. It's this quiet, peaceful, routine life, and you're happy. An example. Actually, before I give that example, I want to make sure I'm using a good example. Okay. I will use this example. I want you to consider if you've ever seen the movie The Hobbit, okay, Bilbo Baggins. Bilbo Baggins is unquestionably a 6. What's debatable is whether or not he has a 5 wing or a 7 wing, because you see really great examples of both throughout that trilogy, and really throughout the Lord of the Rings trilogy as well. But if I were going to paint you a picture of what 6 with 5 looks like, I would tell you to take Bilbo Baggins from the beginning of the very first movie in the Hobbit trilogy, okay? You have this guy who, he's kind of a curmudgeon type of character, and I am not saying that a 6 with a 5 wing is, because they're not, but he's really quiet, and he's got his routine in place, and he's got his home set up the way that he likes it, and he's not at all happy when that gets disrupted. His comfort and the place where he can mentally relax is is in that place of quiet routine. It's in that private place. A better demonstration of 6 with 7, which is my type, is more like later in the films when you have Bilbo Baggins on all of these different quests and adventures. You can see that he's got that terror is there. He wants very much to be back at home, be in that routine, be in that safe place. But I don't think you see this actually as much in the Hobbit trilogy. The Hobbit trilogy is a really good example of phobic 6 versus counterphobic 6 and how 6s can vacillate between the two. That character does a really good example of demonstrating that throughout the entire Hobbit trilogy. But I feel like Bilbo Baggins in the Lord of the Rings trilogy is an excellent example of 6 with 7. Because by the time we get to the Lord of the Rings trilogy, he's much older, and he still may even be a 6 with a 5 wing. But the 6 with 7 personality, I think, is more evident in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, because he's still a 6, but he's kind of got this need for variety and change and adventure, and he can't sit still very long. And that's something that 6s with 7 wings tend to demonstrate a little bit more than a 6 with a 5 wing. Okay? Again, in my life, the way that will play itself out is I will go, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, however long, same routine. Every day, every week, the exact same routine. For those of you that don't know, I have every single day of my life. I have a planner, and I write down, I'm talking about from the time that I wake up to the time that I go to bed is planned. Every minute in between there is planned. From 9 a.m. to, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. is going to be exactly for this. From 9 a.m. to noon is exactly for this. And I have to-do lists and sub-lists that go into these time slots, so I'm very ordered about my time. That's part of how I try and do my time management, and barring, a catastrophe or something like that, I stick to that religiously. But something will happen in me. It's like every couple of months. I would describe it as like some kind of an animal inside of me wakes up, and it's like I am overcome with this anxiousness to just do whatever I want to do and have fun and not care about anything except just having fun and being happy. And sometimes that means that I want to take all of this money that I've saved up in my bank account and go to the mall and buy whatever I want to buy. Don't stop me. Just let me have a blast. Sometimes it means that I want to call my best friend and say, hey, can we just do this road trip? Just an impromptu road trip. I don't even know where we're going to go. Is there somewhere you want to go? Let's go. Let's plan 2 days and let's just go. Let's forget everything and let's go. Sometimes it means that I'm, at home watching TV and it's 9 o'clock at night, and suddenly I just want to get up and go to the bar and have whatever drinks I want to have. And that's what I'm going to do. I may or may not actually do it, but it's this overwhelming need to just let go and just indulge myself in something that just makes me happy, regardless of whether or not it's good for me, regardless of whether or not anyone else likes it, and it's overwhelming. I almost always eventually end up giving into it. I've gotten to a point in my life now where I'm better at finding healthier outlets. I had, unhealthier things that I would do, and I had to say, if I'm really going to start giving into these urges, I need to find ways to replace, this, because this isn't healthy, but perhaps this is. This is a better outlet for that. So I don't think, or at least not that I've noticed, sixes who have a 5 wing, I've never noticed that they have that problem. They can just continually live in the routine and in this really slower, quiet pace of life, and that satisfies them 100%, 100%. So that's another example. I think that when you're a 6, I want to talk about having a sense of wonder and awe. And that kind of comes from this natural innocence that 6s tend to have, even though you have no idea that they have it. I'm pretty sure maybe even there are some 6s that don't know that they have it. But I've noticed that 6s tend to have just this sense of wonder with the world. And a difference between 6 with 5 and 6 with 7 is that 6 with 7, you can just tell. My little 7 wing, when it comes out, I mean, you're not going to get me off. I have attached, my attention was caught by something, and you're not going to tear me away. So you just need to go find something else to do until I'm bored with what has caught my attention. Wonder for a 6 with a 5 wing, I almost don't think that you would want to call it wonder. You might be tempted to call it interest. A 6 with a 5 wing stumbles upon something that fascinates them, and they just study it quietly. And they take in the information, and they apply it into their schematic of information that they already have, and this may or may not be useful to them someday, but this is a fascinating thing, and they'd like to learn more about it, and they've got some questions here, so they'll learn about that. Wonder for a 6 with a 7 wing is significantly more childlike. I'll use myself as an example again. My best friend caught me doing this. A couple of years ago for Christmas, a couple of cities over from here, they had some kind of a Christmas light show in their downtown area, and we went, and they ended up having these little animatronic figures that would move around, and they had like this whole yard sectioned off where they had these little animatronic figures, and it was like a little live scene, like a recreation of some kind of a Christmas scene or whatever it was. And I didn't even realize I was doing this. But anyways, I had seen it, and it caught my attention, and I thought it was so fascinating. I like animatronics. And so I beelined over to this thing, and I'm like shoving people out of the way in the crowd, and I'm like right at the front of this exhibit, and I'm watching all these little robotic things that look like human people. They look real, moving around and doing things in this yard, and I'm like staring, and I'm really intent, and my jaw's open, and my eyes are wide. And my best friend, who is a 5, so she's observing. She's doing the 5 thing, where she's just kind of detached from her whatever sense of wonder that she may have, if any. And she's just kind of watching me, and after a couple of minutes, she said something to the effect of, "Jen, you're so cute when your little 7 wing comes out, and you're just like this child that's just seen this bright, shiny thing, and you're just kind of drawn to it, and you're just mesmerized by this new thing." And it was very 7-ish, she's right about that, but it was very 6 with 7 specifically, because something like that really draws more on the innocence that a 6 tends to have inside of him. It's just this, it's a really cool and it's a new thing, but it's this innocent thing. It's just, this is a simple thing, and it just makes me happy. And it's this sense of wonder. I have no idea how they do this. How do they make them look so lifelike? This is really cool. I liked it. It was awesome. If it were a 6 with a 5 wing, they would probably come over and look at it if they were interested in it, but I don't think you would be able to tell just by looking at them that they thought it was cool. I think that there would be a lot of observations and, again, questions. I wonder how they do this. This is pretty interesting. I wonder what this is, kind of a thing. But it's not as obvious that they have kind of that sense of wonder for it. Does that make sense? It's pretty obvious when it's a 6 with a 7 wing. I mean, or so I've been told. I make it pretty obvious, but that's just another example. I have like 1 minute. I don't think I'm even going to touch anything else. I have a couple other things that I could touch on, but they're going to be really in-depth things that we're not going to have time to talk about. I feel kind of disappointed with this one because I don't feel like I gave as many tangible examples this time. I gave you a lot of examples. They're good examples, but they're really hard to see on the surface. So if you're going to use this video to help decide whether or not someone that you know is 6 with 5 or 6 with 7, this is probably not a good video. This is going to be a really good video if you need to tell if you are a 6 with a 5 or a 6 with a 7. Yeah. still, it's good for that anyway. It's good information. So anyways, just thoughts. So as usual, questions, comments. If you need me to expand on what I've said, or if you need me to take what I said and kind of sum it up in a nutshell for you, depending on what communication style works better for you, please let me know. Always put it in the comment. I know that my communication style doesn't work for everybody because we're all different. So you need to let me know if I need to re-say something in a different way for you. Okay? Thanks.